Hey, you know what? Today it's Tuesday. It's the 28th of November, and we're going to be talking about insurance. I know it's not a big, sexy, exciting topic, but you know what? It's important. We need this insurance. We're going to be talking with Tony Dennis from Sebrite Agency. We're going to be navigating the roads of the trucking business insurance today on Contractors Corner. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Come check us out. It's going to be important. And we have some exciting information to share about our insurance offerings. Intriguing.
Paying too much for trucking insurance? What if you could save more by making one simple phone call and keep more profit? You could very well do just that with one simple call to Sebrite Agency, 800-366-6466. Call now.
Now here's a question that all owner-operators and small fleet owners should consider. What happens when you access the unrivaled advantages that are available through the ES Advantage program? We asked Jeff and Charlie from Contractors Corner to share their thoughts on how they've been able to utilize the discounts and services that are a part of the ES Advantage.
Your business will make you money if you do well at that business. And ES Advantage in trucking, they do really well at providing those services. So the effect that ES has had on our personal trucking operations, not even talking about what we do on the consulting arena, I've been able to save thousands of dollars a year in fuel because of the relationship with them. I have a new accountant that I work with, trucker CFO, that I learned about from ES Advantage.
They're giving you that 10,000 yard kind of support from behind that creates a way for you to succeed, which is one of the things that we love, because anything you can do to help someone succeed is going to help them succeed. They make money by making sure you make money.
Now, if you're an owner-operator or small fleet owner and you would like to learn more about how you can drive savings to the bottom line of your business, the ES Advantage program has the discounts and services that deliver the kind of unrivaled advantages that are designed to help you improve your overall operation. Get connected with the ES Advantage today.
It's kind of a catchy little groove. I really dig that one. I'm like, get connected with the ES Advantage. I should never dance on the screen again. There's something wrong. Jeff, why are you letting me do this? I don't even understand. You have buttons you could push. You could stop this train wreck from happening. You just got to take control. Be the conductor. Filth, Lauren, filth, Jeff.
Are you done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So who was first today?
Craig Hutchinson, the man, the myth, the legend. He threw a trophy, a medal, and squirrels up. I'm just saying,
right.
The man was trying to set me off. I don't even understand.
All right.
I told him when it happened, look, victory is yours, Craig. Victory is yours, sir. Out there pulling reapers and stuff. And I'm okay. So just before the show, I was like, stuff in my face. We were kind of with Tony and Cole and Jeff and I, and it was stuff in my face because I got the crazy jitters because I realized I hadn't eaten all day today, Jeff. I've been popping pills like it's been hot.
Well, I'm going to fire Rosie then, because she should be taking care of you.
Right. You know what? She should have made me a sandwich. Don't tell her I said that. If you tell her, I will rat you out.
Well, you know that Dawn is listening and they're friends.
Damn it! I was just kidding, purely joke. it happened that way. I'm just saying. James Vaughn was here. What's up, James? Good to see you, buddy. Trucker and Fly Rabbit, the other James. That was funny because I was like, "Hi, James and James." And let's see who else we got going on. Wimpy McPote, man with a million excuses, said God was here, and I said some might say God is always here. Just saying. I don't know if that's your thing. That's your thing. I don't know. You do you, bro. Coach's ugly sweater was up in here. He wants us to get him a deal on satellite TV for his truck.
Okay.
Apparently it's a thing he wants. I'm dumb. I'm slow. I follow a coach. Okay. Said another year in the books. Where did it go? Bro, like God, there's like a psychological thing with that because they say the older you get, the faster the years go. It has something
Yeah.
to do with your time on the planet and all that. And relativity. I don't know. It's too
Your perception of time changes as you get older because
right.
you have more years behind you than in front of you.
Brian Jess is here. Bear Hunter. Lisa. Forgot it was Tuesday. Look, I almost did.
Hey, you know what? I had to call Donna on Saturday and ask her what day is it because I thought on Friday all day that it was Saturday, and I was looking at my load, and I'm like, shit, I'm late.
Right.
Wait, no, my watch says Saturday. Is it Saturday or Sunday? I don't know.
Can't be.
You know it's bad when you don't even trust your technology.
No, dude, it's crazy. Jim Wall, good to see you, buddy. Jeff's breathing
I've been
wonderful
breathing
lung
glycol for the last 2 weeks and
It's been great.
coolant leak in the truck.
Fighting, yeah. Life on 18 wheels up in here. Let's see. Good Lord. Scrolling through. Tim the Trucker Saber and Victor Jackson, what's up? Good Lord. Nicholas Earl, y'all are just slamming it up right now. I appreciate it. I hope every one of you did that little thumbs up deal down there at the bottom. Just saying. Hey, and if you're watching this on the replay, I'm going to say it at the start of the show. If you're watching this on the replay, you replay warriors, we love you guys. Leave comments down there. Ask questions. If you got any questions about today's show, we're going to be talking about insurance stuff. I know nobody thinks it's sexy, and I said that in the opener, but you know what? This stuff is super important, and I think we're going to have a good discussion. As a matter of fact, you know what? I should just jump right to that and screwing around and bring Tony Dennis in the mix here because Tony Dennis, our man from the Sebrite Agency, who does all this wonderful stuff for us because he's awesome and smarter than us.
Yep.
Tony, good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you guys.
I got a little jacked up there slamming Mountain Dew just before, and like I hit play and I get all like that. I don't know. Got to take it down.
I'm here.
Oh, stop it. So we want to, Tony. I led with the opening. I know you stepped away from the desk, and I said, "Look, we've got cool insurance. I know it's not sexy, but we need it. It's important, and we've got stuff we're going to talk about, and we're going to dip into this and that." And I'm just going to throw it into your lap right now because that's fun to do. Just be like, "Go ahead, Tony. What do you got?"
Okay. I think tonight what we want to talk about is physical damage.
Yes.
So we have two categories. One today, if you have a physical damage program through the motor carrier that you're leased on to, what you should really do is compare to make sure it's taking care of you. And there's a facet of this that's always neglected, which is what happens post-accident. Because you think when you have an accident, basically that your expenses are going to be limited to your deductible. And that's just not true. If you get in an accident and they tow your truck away, they take you uptown for your little alcohol and blood test or pee test, whatever they're going to do in the state you're in, your expenses are just starting to grow. And we want to cover that. And plus, I think you should announce, Charlie, that you now have the ability to write physical damage, non-trucking, and the accident expense benefit for not only the Swift drivers, but any motor carrier out there for owner operators.
So everybody's heard us talk about, hey man, if you're a Swift contractor, we got a great deal for you. Well, guess what? Now we got a great deal for everybody. We've really been working for quite some time, and Tony, look, I say we, like I've done something. Tony, that man right there.
Oh, no, we ask questions and Tony comes up with answers.
Right. But he has been busting his ass trying to figure out ways to do these things that we're asking. And, how can we do this, Tony? Can we do this? Can we do that? And all those sorts of things. And Tony is the magical man that like the guy. You guys don't even understand how many hours a man works because like half the time Jeff and I are talking to him, it's, I don't know, 11 o'clock my time. And Tony's out on a freaking tractor in a field picking up hay and loading trucks. And I'm like, what the hell? And he's like, yeah, and I got to be up at 4 a.m. and go do this other field. And I'm like, and then you're going to go do what? And then I'm going to do, this other job and then the insurance thing. And then I'm going to do this thing. And I'm like, nap time for me, just talking about it.
Design and print shirts for Sturgis.
Oh, right. Right.
There you go.
The man is tireless. I don't even know how he does it. Like I can only hope.
So anyway,
Sorry.
don't know where to go with that. So let's just
Right.
go with physical damage. So we're offering several different models, so we can accommodate for the really good drivers out there that haven't had any claims. We have better than industry rates. So if you're seeing that 6%, 7%, you can do better than that. And the accident, the policy should be covering your truck. Some of you are going to want the cheapest thing out there, and some of you are going to want full coverage to know that when you get through that accident, it hasn't reached into your pocketbook. You want things like gap. You want higher limits in towing. We have all those things tailor-made to each driver individually.
It's beautiful. It's like an a la carte service.
Yeah, so we'll quote it. You'll call in the agency. You have to tell us that you came through Contractors Corner,
Whoop, whoop.
and that will send you into a group of girls who will help each and every one of you. You can quote exactly what you have to see where it is. You may enhance it. You may want to cut it down. We'll accommodate you. We would prefer that you don't go with less coverages.
Right.
The other thing that we can do is we can provide you gap. So a year ago, if you had gap, it probably wasn't your best money spent because there wasn't enough trucks, and used trucks were high in value. And today it's not true. Today there's a glut of used trucks, and you may owe the bank $20,000 more than what your payoff is.
Right.
So you can go into this and you can purchase a gap. The gap can be, whatever you choose, whether it's 10,000 to 60,000, will help you cover it. You have to have it insured for the value that you owe. And then if the truck market goes down and you can
Which it
only
is
get
now.
less in the open market, then that's where your gap would apply.
Mhm.
And we can give you that quote. One of the other things that we can do, if you talk about an accident, the first thing that's going to happen is in the event that you have that truck into a position where it has to be towed away, right? And you're 600 or 1,000 miles from home, whatever the case is, even 300 miles from home. Now you're going to end up going to do your test. And when you come out, you don't actually have the funds to go to get a hotel, to get a cab ride. Charlie, if you can put that up, I'll run over it real quick and explain how it goes.
Bam! Look at that. Just
very good. So after you've had that accident and you come out of the clinic, the hospital, the sheriff's office, whatever it may be that you come out of for that test, we will actually pay for an Uber ride. We will actually book you a hotel. We will pay for that hotel. In the morning, you may need to go back to your truck and at that point, you can figure out whether it's going to be repaired there. Make those preparations. But then while you're going to want to go home, we'll actually pick up the expense factor to get you home, whether it's an airplane, whether we have to send you home on a bus, a train, if you're in the East Coast. We'll pick that for you and we'll pay for it. It's not a reimbursement. It's an upfront expense factor that we will bear for you. If you live close enough and your wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever wants to come and pick you up, we won't leave him or her high and dry. We'll actually give you a reimbursement fee for the expenses they have to come and get you. That is a reimbursement. We don't just send you willy-nilly money. You'll send us receipts. We'll process them and we'll pay them back within 7 days. We'll give you an email so that you can make the trip and say in 1 day and send us that. We'll get you out a check within 7 days. We'll also pay for additional expenses that you may incur because you're there and you have nothing in your hands, right?
Right. And we've seen that happen. We had, one of our guys. I mean, he left his credit card with the daughter for prom and got into a wreck, and now he's stranded in Atlanta. And holy hell, was that a nightmare for everybody?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, as a result, he felt pressured into doing some things that actually harmed him
Physically
down the road,
and
physically and financially. And what this will do is it'll keep you from having to make that knee-jerk reaction. I got to get back to work right now, when you really shouldn't.
Right. You're talking about the guy who actually ended up taking another equipment lease and then driving for 2 weeks.
Right.
Yep.
Hasn't been able to work for the last 6 months because of that decision.
The guy that spurred this entire conversation about this very coverage we're talking about right now.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
And so this would pick that up, and you can charge your food, and we'll send you expenses on the daily basis till we get you back. The whole idea of this policy is to stop you from going to the motor carrier, trying to coax them into paying for something, from you dipping into savings to get you home from what happens every single day in this industry. Trucks bang up.
Right.
There's just no question. Trucks get banged up, and then you're left high and dry, and none of us carries a moped in our back pocket to get you home 600 miles.
I tried.
Right?
They're too heavy.
And, right. So the insurance is the proper way to do it. Today, nobody covers it.
Right.
We'll pick up that expense factor as an owner operator. You don't have to go to the motor carrier. It protects the motor carrier from crossing that line of, are you an employee? Are you an owner operator, an independent contractor? What is your status?
Right.
We're cementing that deal. It's truly the owner operator's responsibility, and you don't have to beg for help.
Right.
It's just covered.
There's nothing worse than going hat in hand to
This
pop
is,
up whatever.
This is another one of those guys, making that distinction. Are you just paying for a job, or are you actually in business? And
Correct.
our stance is that we should all change our mindset, which it's not easy for a lot of folks. You gotta have this mindset. You're in business for yourself. If you're leased to Swift like we are, the only thing I need Swift for is maybe a truck, maybe not. There's other options, and freight. That's what they're there for, is freight, to keep my wheels turning. That's the contract I have with them. Other than that, I run my business.
Right.
And this is part of that, being responsible and covering yourself. And, Tony, we mentioned before how much most people hate insurance. And we were kind of in that camp before we met you. And now that we know somebody like you and you've been able to explain some things, I can't say that I love insurance, but I at least understand it now. And my whole world changed,
I'll say I have a better understanding. I don't understand shit.
Well, yeah.
Let's be real.
But this kind of natural adversarial insurance versus the general population is mainly because people don't understand a couple of things. Number one, we live in a litigious society. People are trying to win the lawsuit lottery every day.
Good Lord.
And as a business owner, you've got to protect yourself from that.
Correct.
Another part of that is this AB5 stuff. You guys know about the big Swift lawsuit. There was one against CR England that actually ended their owner-operator division completely. They don't have owner-operators at all anymore. And, some of us did benefit from that lawsuit, but I'll tell you what, to this day, if I ever met the guy that started that, man, I might lose my freedom.
He died before it settled, but whatever.
Yeah, he did. But, take this being in business seriously, guys. You're in business for yourself, whether you're leased to a carrier, you have your own MC number or not. You are in business. Act like it and make steps to protect yourself.
And the things that, we're talking about with Tony today, a lot of what we're going to talk about is actually going to reinforce or enforce or create that separation between carrier and the owner operator, independent contractor, depending on how you're looking at yourself and those sort of things. But we're trying to be able to insulate ourselves and our carriers from us and them, right? We're not creating an adversarial position. We're creating insulation and protection for both. Would that be a good way to say it, Tony?
That's exactly what you're doing. The motor carriers run the risk because the motor carrier is never going to sue to be your employee.
Right.
And there's owner operators out there who get in a bad way. And let me tell you something. One of the biggest problems that we have in the entire industry is the perception from a motor carrier standpoint. And we've had this conversation today, if you're a motor carrier and you go out and an owner operator comes to you, you go out and you purchase all the insurance and offer it to your drivers, that being an owner operator. That means that the policy is issued to ABC Trucking. Not a liability is issued to ABC. It covers the owner operator. The physical damage is issued to the motor carrier.
Right.
And covers the owner operator. Cargo, it's issued to the motor carrier. OCAC, when you drivers are out there and you have the ability to buy OCAC versus workers' comp, some of you need workers' comp, you should buy workers' comp. Some of you have that option to have OCAC. There's a great time for it. But even in the OCAC, all those policies are issued to the motor carrier.
Right.
Non-trucking is a great policy for an owner operator. A lot of you use it to buy your license plate because that policy is yours.
Right.
Except when the motor carrier buys it, it's issued to the motor carrier and it's yours. And the minute you terminate that relationship with the motor carrier,
yes,
all those policies cancel. No McDonald's out there runs with a master policy somebody else owns and controls.
Right.
As an owner operator, you need to control your insurance.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that. We will never do that.
Right.
Right? Because when you get injured, you go to get an attorney because financially you're upside down. That's typically when things go awry.
Right.
Even if you have an occupational accident policy, it forgets one thing. It covers your business. It covers your personal income to run your household. How many owner operators have a truck payment?
Most.
OCAC pay it?
Nope.
Heavens no, it doesn't pay it. We're the only company in the country that gives you an extra $1,500 to $3,000 a month because you're in business. Our policies are issued to you as the owner operator, meaning you have control. You have a question about your policy, you call
Right.
us, we'll go through that policy with you. You get nervous, you have a question before an incident, you call us. Today, you have to call the motor carrier.
Right.
They're not insurance people, right? My job is to build products. I don't sell things, so I can't help you from the sales standpoint, but I can answer questions. And what we want to do is to look at those claims. So if you take that accident, you've wrecked your truck, you get out, you have to go, you've been injured, you got a back injury, you come out, you file a claim. You ought to know whether it's going to cover both your personal income to take care of your household, life and status, whatever it is.
Right.
But you need to ask them, who's covering my business?
Yep.
And if they're not covering your business, you have harmed yourself.
Right.
And when you go in front of that attorney's going to tell you, well, the only free money you can get is if you claim to be an employee, and here goes AB5.
Right.
And we sit in front of a desk, and the guy goes, well, what do you do? Why drive trucks? Right? All those policies belong to somebody else.
Right.
And if you can walk away from a contractual relationship and you're still in business and still protected, you're in business.
Right.
If you can't and you have no coverages, you may be a reclassification issue. It's what California is waiting for.
Right.
Right. And so when you have these claims, if everybody's taken care of, if your medical bills are taken care of, if that ride to and from your truck, the hotel, that's picked up. If you're getting money to run your household, your medical bills are paid at 100%, and we're covering your business expenses, and you don't even have to qualify because we believe you're in business. You can buy that business overhead expense. If at the end of the month, there's more money left than what the policy covers, it's free money. I don't care if you take all your kids to Disney World.
Right.
Right? Your business owes you something. It isn't a lifelong policy.
Right.
It's a business overhead expense. It pays for a year. And those are the kinds of things that you should look for. Non-trucking should be exactly what it is. It needs a lease agreement to be there, but you should have the ability to have coverage beyond that day. And so we give you an exclusion factor since you're out of a lease, but you need to drive it to and from the next motor carrier while you're pursuing it.
Right.
We can get you coverage to get you so that you can continue to operate as a business. How many of you have any kind of software to manage your insurances? Very few of you. How many of you have a driver's file set up? If you get in an accident, each and every owner operator should have a driver's file.
What should that driver file entail? What should it have within it, Tony? Because
it should have a copy of your driver's license, even though you know who you are.
Right.
The DOT wants to see a copy of it. It should have your latest from MBR, your medical card, your expiration date, right? It should have all the things that you have for your business. Do you have a GL policy? It should be in that driver's file, right? It should have your work history, even though you can regurgitate it.
Right.
That file to be complete, right? And so we give you a program when you do that to store all that information so that you have a driver's file. It's electronic, it's in the cloud that you can access from your phone, your pod, your pad, whatever you're using.
Why is it so important that you don't just keep it in that plastic tote in the corner, Tony?
Because the DOT can find you if they can break into your file cabinet with a screwdriver, as he told me so blatantly.
I hope you guys' mind is blown like mine is right here. Because
this is one of the first things that we learned from Tony. Charlie and I both, we didn't know about this.
Yeah, we answered no to all these questions, which was the wrong answer.
So yeah, I mean, and this brings us to a point and some of the things that we're working on is the education part, as you guys know. Tony is constantly asking us, Tony, you ask us all the time, do you have an MBA? And the answer is
no.
Most of us, and I'm just going to say us in the trucking industry, there's a huge gap in education on how to run our businesses. You know, Charlie and I have done pretty well over the years and we know a thing or two, but we're constantly learning new things that being a business owner entails. You know, we didn't go to college. Well, I went to college, but you know, I dropped out after 2 years.
I went to the U.S. Army College
and it wasn't business college. Very few of us out here have an education in business, and that's part of the gap that we're trying to fill for everybody. Things like this driver file. You know, when we signed up for Swift, and both Charlie and I did this back when they actually did have owner-operator orientation. It was a day and a half in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Nobody mentioned a driver file. They sold us the 800-pound gorilla accounting service. They didn't talk to us at all about what we needed to be business owners. Nothing.
Right.
They sold us a truck and an accountant service. That's it. Said, hey, you might want to watch your fuel mileage. That's, you know.
Right. But there's a difference between being a self-proclaimed owner-operator and being a business owner as an owner-operator. And one is you should know how much money you make. And it isn't about the gross income. It's about those expenses that come with it, right? I mean, you should actually, as an owner-operator, you should have your accountant or one of the services through Jeff and Charlie is there's a guy in Utah that will actually tell you whether or not you're making a profit, right? How much money you have to send home to use, how much money is your truck. He'll tell you the depreciation. He'll tell you your rate per mile. He'll tell you all things that you need to know for a snapshot, or are you doing okay?
So we just got off the phone with Colton at truckerscfo.com, and we just had this discussion, and this is a service that he is going to set up and provide, and he's going to price to come. We don't know. We literally just had the conversation, so nothing's in print or fine yet. But what he's going to do is say, hey, let me look at your books. Let me give you an idea. He's going to charge you a fee, and let you end up using his services after that to give you an idea of how healthy your business and your personal finances are. And if you decide to use the services after that, he should take that price and, you know, reduce the price of his services over the cost of the year for that for you. And we're going to have some more stuff building off of all of that as well. Sorry, just wanted to get that out there.
Right. And we would like to give a credit for the money that you spent. We'd like to apply that to a credit towards your insurance because we know if you care about your business, you're going to care about everything that happens. Right. There are truckers out there who go through the motions. There are truckers out there who care about themselves. You know, and we have a little bit of a background in trucking because we had 14 trucks and we ran them for many years, about 20 some. What we'd like to see happen to you is for you to make more money doing what you do. So they talk about ES Advantage compared to Mud Flap. Well, let me tell you about ES Advantage. They drive 100% of the profit from the fuel companies back to you, 100%, right? They make their money in other ways, but they do provide 100%. If you have good credit, they've got programs for you. If you have no credit, bad credit, you can still save money on your fuel. And a good trucker running across country probably should save somewhere between $1,000 and $1,400 a month in fuel savings. Well, if you can save $1,500 a month, 12 months a year, that's $18,000 that you just gave yourself a raise for doing the exact same job that you're doing.
I know people who make less than that on an annual salary, and they're grown adults people.
Yes. And that's what it's about. It's about driving profit to the truck. And profit stands from every aspect of it. Not only do you need to earn it, but you need to protect it. And that's what insurance should do. It should protect your asset being the truck. It should protect your earnings and the ability to earn it. And you shouldn't have to be looking at suing somebody to get what you lost. If you're made whole, you're made whole.
Right.
And we can do that for you. We can help you get to that point. We can work with your motor carrier to make sure that they understand exactly what you have. In many cases, we can be below what you're currently paying for comp coverages.
Look, if you have 14 freaking accidents out there, come on. I'm just saying.
Right. That's going to affect your rate.
You may want to stay with that motor carrier's super expensive insurance because it's probably cheaper and you'll get on the outside. Let's be kind of realistic here. But, you know, if you've got a decent driving record, like most of us, I believe, have, because, I mean, I talk to people all the time. And I'm like, hey, you know, when's the last time you had a thing? And they're like, I haven't had a thing. Jeff's, you know, several years over a 180 did, you know, it wasn't a huge damage problem. But, I mean, so he's got that little mark on him, right? Things like that, I'm sure, are workable in a reasonable rate. If you've got 15 freaking rear end accidents, I don't even know how you have a license anymore, but okay.
So I wanted to bring this up before we go too far gone. Randy Shackelford on the driver file thing says that's pretty much the front part of my permit book. So, Randy, you need to have another full set of all that stuff in a file box at your house.
Or cloud storage.
Or cloud storage.
It needs to be secure.
That's what we're talking about. It needs to be a secured file.
Right.
Something that cannot be burnt up when your truck catches fire would be great. Because that's, you know, when Tony and I were talking about this a year ago, I was like, well, it's all in my permit book. Nay, Ether Bunny.
Right.
And with that, I just wanted to point out, too, that I get on these debates on the Facebooks, Tony, with certain groups that I won't name because I don't want to get kicked out of them because they're fun to debate in. But a comment I made on one, you know, these people are all over the brokers right now. The brokers aren't paying and it's BS, this, that, and the other thing. And my question is this to people. Why are you only focusing on that one side of the balance sheet? What about your expenses? You know, we just had one earlier, you know, anything under $2 is just too cheap freight. Well, everyone at Swift runs for less than $2 a mile. And yet here I sit in a really nice house in rural Utah. You know, how is that? Well, my expenses. I focus on the expense side of the balance sheet, bringing those expenses down as far as I can.
Save the pennies, make the dimes turn into dollars.
To make more profit with what my contract says that I am owed by my customer, Swift. People, why have you seen that a lot in your business, Tony, where people are just so focused on that side of the balance sheet and they don't even think about that aside?
They take it for granted. Expenses are expenses. They don't want to take the time to cut their expenses to drive up their profit.
Right.
right? It's just like for the interest I have in a truck, we have a mud flap account. You know, we have it because there are those times when you get out places, mud flap will work,
Absolutely.
but the difference is I have a choice. And I can look on an app and tell me, am I going to save 12 cents at mud flap and
Yes.
$1.09 using ES?
Right.
And the driver fills up on a mud flap, I'm going to take it out of his daggone pay. That
Throat
he just
punches
spent
for
my
everybody.
money,
Yep.
right? So we want them to use the apps. We want them to understand if fuel is an afterthought and you don't realize you're going to fill up every X amount of days, you should be thinking about it in advance. You know where you're going.
Right.
And it may be cheaper to fill up 100 miles quicker than you want. But if you can save $200 for filling up, that's $200.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I teach, Tony, is I should actually literally shop for fuel every single morning as part of my pre-trip.
Yeah, you should.
You know, especially on those transcontinental loads that I get sometimes. I'm looking at, okay, I have enough money to get this far, or enough fuel to get this far. Where's my cheapest fuel? And that'll get me this far. And sometimes I put 50 gallons in because if I can just get a little further, I get a better price. But I've looked ahead that far, you see.
Yes.
So I know that. If you're not shopping, you don't know that. And you end up, you know, the worst way to buy fuel at Swift, by the way, is using the COM data card and Swift's suggested fuel stops.
Oh, God.
You will go bankrupt in a heartbeat doing that. Because this is where we talk about the discounts, right?
Yes.
Yes. Passes through all the discounts. At Swift, we get a 5 cent per gallon rebate on fuel.
At the Big Five.
At the Big Five. And, you know, it's their business, and I can disagree with it all I want, but I can't fault it because I'm a capitalist.
Right.
Whatever discounts they're getting, they keep all but that 5 cents. By going out and getting my own fuel card, and Charlie and I have discussed this with them, and they're like, well, go get your own fuel card then. So we did. You know,
Right.
We got the discounts for ourselves.
You're paying
That's
to
what
be
we did.
bankrolled under that program.
Right,
You're
right.
paying, and you're paying a very high interest rate.
Absolutely.
Even if you called ES and said, look, I have no credit, they will work with you to establish a position where you're prepaying for your fuel in advance. And even if you're short on that, they can work with you. And within 90 days, you can bankroll yourself. The average truck in 90 days under an ES promotion, driving wisely, you will have created enough windfall to leave it in your account so that your fuel is never an issue. You'll always have your money week to week to week.
Right.
And you need to give them a call. I mean, they really do an excellent job. I don't know of anything better. I've seen a lot of them over the years. I've had a few of them, but this one really does protect you. You blow a tire, their discounts on tires, you can't beat, right? You just blew an oil pan, right?
Right.
To be able to go into any of the major stops and walk in, you can pay all of the bill, or you can pay 60% or 70% of the bill because you have the right affiliation.
Right.
A professional association or service for you, you become one of a large number instead of a little individual guy, right? And that's how you make money.
Right. I want to go back to this question real quick, or the statement from Randy Shackford. He said, I guess that digital copy makes sense as well. I've made that recommendation to Swift to create an FTP or storage location that we as drivers can download and upload stuff with IEL/Swift. So I see a problem here, and that problem is here. And I'm not harshing any carrier or Swift or anyone, so don't take this the wrong way. But when your contract is terminated at Swift, you will not be able to access that type of stuff.
You have to have your own.
Yeah, you need to have your own way of getting that stuff.
And you know, this is another one, Tony, that another solution that you found for a problem that we didn't know existed. That is absolutely the case. You lose your contract at a mega carrier. I don't care if it's Swift, JB Hunt, whoever. Where is your job history? Where is your?
It's gone.
It's gone, right?
You terminate, it's gone. Talk to any of the drivers from Swift that have left while we're in here. It doesn't exist.
Right.
And there are drivers, if I had to, I would have asked them to use their names. That's why you need to look at a program like Tim's, which is a online. It tracks all your insurance policies, your driver file, your medical, your renewal for your license. It tracks your insurance renewal dates. And you go to a simple place on your phone, on your pad or your pod, you
Right.
pull it up, you have everything in there. If you need to pull out a certificate, you simply open it up. You can do it from your phone and send it out an email. It's all at your for $2 a month.
Right.
Everything you ever needed as an owner operator, you can put in there. And so, for example, instead of carrying around a policy, which I have seen more guys say, well, I have my Ocotis in the back, let me go grab it. It
Right.
should be in an electronic file that nobody has access to in the world but you.
Right.
And as you move through motor carriers, hopefully you learn that I don't always believe that changing ships is the right way to make money.
Right.
I believe you ought to know whether you're making money and then apply that same data to a prospective motor carrier. A lot of times guys are in the right job and they're in the right position. They're just not looking at it properly because they never look at the business aspect of it.
Right.
Right. And that's why I suggest, you know, Colton will actually give you a thumbnail look at whether or not you're making money. And then that tells you, do you have enough money to take care of your home life, whatever that home life may be. And some of you are going to need more money than others. So if you can combine knowing where you start, then you can make a proper assessments of where you're going.
Right.
And saving money is one thing, but if you don't save it on to begin with, you don't have it to spend.
Right.
Right.
Right. I mean, a decent house payment, you can save that on fuel card. The fuel card savings every month should pay for all your insurance. If you're doing it right, something you already spend, the savings on that per week should make all your insurance payments.
Right.
We tell everybody about you, Bear Hunter. You're our test case.
I did good. I didn't even bring you up this time, Sean. And I thought about it. I'm like, oh, that's Sean, $98,000 truck. What? I'm sorry. I'll go back. I apologize. My bad. Oh, good Lord. So basically what we're trying to impress upon everyone here is we as a community, as individual business owners, we need to step up and take better control of our businesses. And Jeff and I are constantly preaching this, run your business. It's kind of one of the little taglines, run your business better. And that's something we should all be doing every day, is trying to strive to be better every day at our business. Well, in our life, I mean, in general, right? But we are business focused here. So we're going to talk about run your business better. How do you do that? Education, learning, finding these associations and relationships, things like that. We brought you Tony. Well, Tony was brought to us, and we shared him with you guys because this man is just amazing. The ES Advantage fuel card. I mean, the whole ES family over there, that the different things that they offer. We've had people branch out from Swift and go elsewhere, and we have people that are over at ES. I mean, you guys saw Wanda on last week, my surgery week. That was fun. And she was talking about her experience with ES and things like that. And Trucker CFO Colton Lawrence over there. Bringing all of these things together, and what Jeff and I and Tony and all of these people that we're mentioning want to do is create that. I'm going to use one of those words, Jeff, a synergy.
Oh my goodness.
Business. I did it. And I never use things like that. And it's just so appropriate right there. I don't even know. Look, I just lost Tony's like,
you've never even been white collar, man. What's wrong with you?
Right? But seriously, it brings it together, and we're trying to wrap this up so that we protect your carrier, you as the individual, your business, and to create that separation and protection for all parties involved. There's nothing wrong with win-win. It doesn't have to be win-lose. And so many people are just it's I gotta win, screw them, I'm whatever. And
well, I'm a big Stephen Covey guy, and the whole win-win or no deal, right? I don't like win-lose and certainly don't like lose-win.
Right.
And so, Randy, relationships are and will always be the key to business success. And that plays right into something I want to say. What you are witnessing on the show today is the culmination of us building a relationship over the last year with three entities: ES Success and Trucking, Sebrite Agency, and Trucker CFO. You know, these it all started with ES and our relationship with them. But uh, uh, we've spent Charlie and I have spent the last year building these relationships with these people to come up with solutions that benefit everybody. And it's has it been easy, Charlie? Do we always understand what people are talking
Hell
about?
no. How many nights did you and I hang up with Tony and we're like, bro, my head hurts. I don't even know what the hell just happened. And
Yeah,
we're going through notes and we're like, I don't even understand the notes I wrote down because it was just so much information.
yeah,
You know, and look, I'm not crying. I like it. That was just growth. That was pain. That was education happening. And that all by itself is invaluable. Like I can't even express I couldn't even begin to put a dollar value on what we've learned over the last year. In fact, the last year and a half, even starting back when we started with ES on the fuel card thing.
yeah, yeah. And that's the thing, guys. You meet these people. You know, ask a lot of questions, learn what they have to offer, and then put it into practice. That's the part that most people skip.
That's the
Put
hard.
it
That's
into practice.
adulting. Adulting is hard.
Yeah. Your cursor's moving around weird. Or is it
Yeah,
me?
I was no, I was moving. Sorry, I was looking at other screens while I had that open. I apologize. But yeah, so I'm just gonna shut up for a minute.
Uh-oh. His
I just
brain
want
locked up.
to remind people who will watch this and listen to it and replay it that we're an owner operator based organization, all these parties, which means that our clientele is the owner operator to protect the integrity of the owner operator. It doesn't mean we have to fight with the motor carrier, because a lot of the things that we do as owner operators don't always make sense. And it's because of the lack of knowledge. Nobody wants to pop a beer and sit and talk insurance. I guarantee you, right? The only time you want to talk about insurance when you think you got screwed.
Right.
The time
Right.
to figure out if you got screwed is when you bought the insurance. The time you'll talk about it's when you got screwed because you didn't buy what you needed. The other issue is somebody's probably already negotiated for you all the benefits that you're going to have under the umbrella of insurance. It
Right.
doesn't have to be that way. And you will always have your best interests at heart, and you will always know what you have when you pay for it.
Right.
When somebody else does all those negotiations for you and you have no options, that's when trouble begins.
Right.
Right.
And so you need to be able to make good decisions, and we don't always make them. I'd be the first one to tell you life isn't perfect. But sometimes you will cut corners because you need to save money. In reality, I'll bet you there's other places to save money so that you're not caught when your insurance is going and demanded to be paying.
I can tell you what mine should be: cigars, right off the top.
Yeah.
Honest
Yeah.
to God, cigars is the first thing that I need to cut when it gets really, really bad. I'm just like, look, I know, I smoke too much. Whatever, get past that part of it. But that single expense in my little personal life, right, is tremendous on my monthly balance. I can tell you
Right.
that right now. I don't even. I'm gonna be embarrassed if I say the number, so I'm not saying that. It's
I know
$1,000,
what it is.
$1,000 a month on cigars.
It's half my mortgage, bro.
I'm ashamed, but I budget for that. I'm just saying. But again, getting control of all of these finances. What Tony was leading to, I believe, is most people cut back on insurance, and I think the first thing they cut back on though is maintenance.
Oh, yeah.
Oh well, I don't have enough money to buy tires. Um, um,
I just bought new tires. What are you talking about?
just saying. But you know that was just fun. I apologize. But you know
Told you
what
we're not talking about that till next week.
I know I'm not going there. And so but yeah, you know, we're like, oh well, you know, maybe I need an oil change, but kind of tight this month. I'm gonna skip it. Well, what happens if because of that month now you popped your motor? I'm just saying. You know, that your business is not the place to skimp
Right.
on the maintenance, on insurance, things like that, you know.
So Mike Henderson, and this is one of the things that we're trying to do for you guys. And I'll explain in a second here. Mike Henderson, a ladder hit my trailer on a bridge. Swift put it down as a DOT reportable accident. I quit a few months later. I had a hard time getting a job because Swift Insurance wouldn't help because I quit.
Right?
That's one of the things we're working on is through these programs. You know, we should be able to be that reference for you because your files, your history, your experience will not be at the carrier. It will be yours.
Right.
That's right.
Where,
And so
where
our
go ahead.
job is to protect the driver and his unit. Also, at the same time,
Mhm.
protecting Swift because they don't have to worry about it.
Right.
And you have to report the accident to any motor carrier. I don't care if it's Swift or JB Hunt or
Right.
FedEx. You still have to report that accident. The difference is the expense of the accident doesn't have to count against you,
Mhm.
and you control that, right? You have the negotiations with your carrier because you are the client,
Right.
right? And we need you as clients, and you need the insurance we have. Not everybody's perfect, and we're going to pay. There's just no question. The expense factor is pre-built into it. We know pretty much what's going to happen. And at the end of the day, if you don't feel good, then we didn't win.
Right.
But you got to know what you're looking for too. And we'll help you.
I see that Charlie started this one, so we'll bring
Yes.
this one up. Bear Hunter, aka Sean. Okay, is it a good idea now to revisit my policy selections for possible change? He's looking at, you know, possibly did the value of the truck go down, so could he get a less expensive premium because of that sort of thing? How often should we be looking at that?
Typically your policy will allow you to do it once a year, right? Because you buy it day one, it's the highest end of the value. And last year was a bad year because values continually went up. But in today's market with the glut, you know, you're steadily going to depreciate out to zero. So you have to know what your depreciation value is and then the market value. Those two things. And that's why you need Colton so that you know where your depreciation is because you should be living. Depreciation
Right.
is a great thing.
Mhm.
And you should know what the bank thinks you should be insured at.
Right.
Typically, it's done once a year. You pick the highest value, and then it tapers downhill. And then you use other insurance to pick up any shortfall called gap.
Right.
All those policies are available and very inexpensive because it's a group policy for the drivers of this particular program.
Right.
And, you know, work
And
with any motor carrier.
and you know, we keep talking about protecting, in our case, Swift, because Charlie and I are both leased at Swift. And you know, people might take that the wrong way. Let me put it to you this way: why wouldn't you want to protect your customer?
Right.
Oh, you do.
You know, the
Swift should
people
be
that
our
are
best friend. I mean, if you work at Swift, I don't care
Right.
what motor carrier we use, but if you work at Swift, Swift should be everybody's best friend, right?
Yep.
They shouldn't be an adversary,
Right.
right?
Right.
The problem is you're using them to pay out for your losses, and now it's money that's coming out of their bottom line. The
Right.
more self-sufficient you are, the better you are as a contract driver.
Be an asset, not a liability.
Right.
Yes.
And
And you both win. You get services from them and revenue. And when anything else happens, you're looking to yourself for those solutions.
right. And that's being a business owner. Again, we're back to that. So one thing real quick, guys, I'm not going to get into it this week so much, but so Swift, the IEL and Swift owner operator division did go through last week. and reevaluate the current market on trucks. And so starting this week, if you're leasing a truck starting this week, the lease payments are a little lower, and so is a balloon payment. Now, if you're like Charlie and you got a truck last year, like a lot of people did, you're locked into that contract. But good on Swift for actually doing the reevaluation of the current market.
I didn't think they were going to do it.
Neither did I. So hey, kudos to them on that. This is part of business too, guys. Charlie got a truck at a really bad time. Let's just face reality. And that it just is what it is. When you make a deal, you make a deal. But if you're at the end of lease or whatever at Swift, or you're looking at getting into the contractor game at Swift, know that they have evaluated the trucks and brought them down to current market values.
If you're looking to get in the contractor business anywhere at this point, the market rates are dropping. Interest rates are going up, but truck prices are dropping pretty steady these days.
Yeah. So just know that. Good news for some people, kind of heartache for other people, I guess. But again, once you make it, when you make a deal, you make a deal. Charlie and I, we're those guys, Tony. Bankruptcy before breaking a contract.
Right.
We're those guys. We've gone through some hell trying to stay in business over the years. Because this is not the first downturn in the market that we've had. And Charlie and I have been around long enough to where we've seen this a couple times, and it is
going to be the longest.
It is real tempting. I have to admit that in a program like we're in, the walk away thing looks attractive sometimes, but we're just those people.
It's not a real walk away.
No, it's not. It's not truly a walk away. They can come after you if they want to. That's in the contract. But yeah, we're just those people, Tony. We don't break contracts. Bankruptcy first. All that stuff.
Death before dishonor. Oh, sorry.
Well, I have been known to say death before company. I just would not want to go back as a company driver too.
Right.
Whatever it takes to stay in business, that's what I'm willing to do.
I'll be a company driver that's going to teach me something.
Well, we've talked about this before. If you're really at the end of your finances, your rope, you have no other option, and you go back as a company for a couple of years, I'm fine with that as long as you tell me one of two things. I do not want to be a business owner anymore. That's legit. Okay, go be a company driver. Nothing wrong with that. Or I'm going to save $20,000, $30,000 in the next 3 years. Then I'm going to go get me a truck and I'm going to get back in the game.
And I'm going to do it better and bigger.
And I'm going to use the things that I learned, the mistakes I made, and do it better next time. That's the answer I love to hear from people.
Right.
Is I'm taking a step back, but I plan on getting back in the game. Just when y'all had Colton on, this is becoming a very insightful show. Oh, as when. Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Tim. That was Tim the Trucker Saber that said that. He said, just as when y'all had Colton on, this is becoming a very insightful show. And that's what we want to bring. I mean, look, you guys, we haven't really spoken enough about some of the things that we've got, our thumbs in pans on the fire, so to say, to use all those cool words and things like that. But I mean, Tony's even working on safety, a safety aspect for all of this stuff that I'm sure we're not going to dip into now. But just know we are trying to build something bigger, better, faster, not a better mousetrap, but a whole new way of doing these things that, quite frankly, we're shocked haven't been done already.
Right.
Because I mean, this business has been around for good Lord ever. I mean, there was a guy out there, pulling an ox cart when Jesus was walking the planet, and he was charging for those services to move that, bushel of whatever to wherever, this is not a new business. And yet all of these things seem to us at this point, God, why was it a no-brainer? Why don't we have this? Why was it this thing here? It took one of our members to have this accident being an absolute, it was like the perfect storm of financial garbage for him. And, had a wreck in Atlanta, away from home. All these things happened. Left the credit card at home with the teenage daughter for prom. Couldn't cover the hotel bill. Couldn't get an Uber. I mean, all these things, so many different things went wrong. And that led to this conversation. We're like, well, why? And Tony's like, well, shit, there's not a coverage out there. Let's make something happen.
Yep.
And that's why we team with people like Tony. That's why we team with people like ES, Colton. I mean, on the fly today, we're like, hey, Colton, we want to start running people to you. Just do this financial health checkup of what their business is. And, you know, that's going to help drive business to Colton. And yes, you know, full disclosure, when you sign up with Colton, Jeff and I get a small referral bonus for doing that. You know, it's not, it ain't life changing. I can tell you that. But, you know, so we do that. And that's fine. I mean, you know, hopefully that's not going to turn you off of it. I mean, the only reason we deal with Colton, we didn't even know about the damn bonus, to be honest, for quite some time. And he's like, hey,
Right.
by the way, you know, you guys actually have a couple bucks in this account because we used Colton to set up our partnership between Jeff and I, our LLC. And he's like, so what I've been doing is I'm just putting the referral bonuses in that escrow account for you guys. And you can pull that whenever. And we're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you guys were getting a referral bonus for people that signed up to you. We're like, well, cool. I'm like, can we retire? He's like, hell no. But we're like, okay, cool. You know, whatever. I can get a burger. You know, Jeff and I are going to use that money to pay for our accounting services for Colton for the year, hopefully for the, you know, our
Contractors Corner,
yeah, you know, and so, you know, but we're trying to bring these things together so that it's just a more encompassing, oh, there's a good word, a more encompassing thing. You know, it's slowly becoming what some might dare to say an association. I don't know, maybe there's something to that.
Yeah.
Squeaky nose, is that weird? That was weird. It sounded weird after.
That was really weird. That was
You're
really
welcome.
weird.
I'll shut up again.
Tony's just staring at you right now.
I know it. You know, Tony gives me some of the greatest looks sometimes. He's like, I'm just going to sit back and watch this train wreck happen. It's a 2-mile-an-hour train wreck for a 4-mile train, and it's happening in front of his eyes.
That's right.
You're like a poor Robin Williams.
Oh,
Shout out to the man. I can think of no better compliment.
you should take that one.
I'm going to record that, and that's going to be a short.
There you go.
Good Lord. Jeff, get me back on track.
Is there a track?
I don't even know anymore, man.
So yeah, so we've got the deal. We're working with Colton to get you guys your snapshot. And I could tell you that that's the first thing he did with me when I signed up for his services, and I just went all in and signed up for his services. So I got this from him.
And he's going to credit you that amount if you sign up for his services, you know, for the year. And then Tony's going to wrap that up. And if you come over and get insurance through Tony and Sebrite, then he's going to figure out how to cut you a little slack on based on that as well. I mean, how the hell does this not even make sense to people?
Well, and you know, so there is a bit of a selfish reason for doing it this way, Charlie. And I'm just going to put it out there, and for our tens of viewers out there,
Tens and tens.
Yep. There is a certain clientele that Charlie and I would love to work with. And that clientele is those of you that are serious about learning how to run a business.
Right.
To stop paying for a job and start owning your future. And this is part of that, is knowing what your starting point is. If we know what your starting point is, Charlie and I can get together with Colton, with the people at ES, with Tony at Sebrite, and we can start teaching you how to get to that next level. You know, do you want to get your own? Are you leased to a carrier right now, but your dream, your passion is you want to own a small fleet and have your own DOT and MC numbers? Is that what you want to do? Do you know how to do that? Do you know what your starting point is? You know, Charlie, the story that I always tell is when I was looking at going out on my own in 2021, I had some money.
Right.
I was ready to pull the trigger. But, and this was before we met Colton, this is just Charlie and I. Charlie took the position as my coach for this. We started running numbers together and this, that. And it turned out, Tony, that I would have had to spend my entire savings to start my DOT. That's what it would have taken.
And the walls would have come crumbling down.
I technically had the money, but it would have taken all my money. So Charlie, your advice to me was what?
Wait, don't do it.
Wait, don't do it. And that saved
we
my business.
We saw the
because
turn that was coming.
we saw what happened after that, and without a cushion, I would have been sunk. You know, that there would have been no way to stay in business
The time
without.
to make that move would have been 19.
Yeah.
Start it then. You would have
So
flourished.
there was value in my conversations with Charlie at the time. Getting that second pair of eyes on the business, where I was at, looking at my financials, all of that stuff. Now, will I get my own authority eventually? Maybe. I'm still interested in that. But I have this whole team of people now, not just Charlie,
Right.
that I can consult with. I'm making some changes in the business in the next week or so that I'll talk about next week.
Exciting.
Talk to everybody about it, and I'm doing it. I'm going forward with it. So
Teaser. It's gonna blow your freaking minds.
almost as much as when Charlie bought a 23 truck.
That was
But
my
yeah,
slow
so
explosion.
so this is the value that I found from the things that we're working on to bring to you guys, is this network of people that I can make phone calls and say, wait, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? This is where I'm at financially. This is where I'm at mentally.
Right.
Mindset has a huge thing to do with this. A little teaser about what I'm going to talk about next week is I'm scared to death, Charlie.
Terrified.
But sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to do the uncomfortable action, right?
I think it's exciting.
I'm
you're
excited
doing
and
it, not me.
terrified. Yeah, right. Well, we did experiment on Alan.
Right. This is turning into a different show. Stop it. So let's get back to Tony. Tony, one of the things we didn't talk about, I don't know if you have the answer to this, like the travel accident expense protection. What would they be looking at for this amazing coverage? I mean, what's this going to cost them?
So it typically will cost roughly $25. That'd be the high side, depending on where you're at, state taxes and so forth.
Right.
So it's roughly $25 a month. And for that, when you get in that accident, if we insure everything, you'll walk out. Won't cost you anything.
Yeah. You're not going to be harmed financially.
Yes.
Right.
And you're all going to have it. I just was in my first accident since 74. I mean, it takes back a while, but I didn't feel bad for 2 days, and then I felt bad.
Right.
So,
Yep.
Our job is to make sure you're protected. And if you want to self-fund it, self-fund it. But then when you self-fund it, who are you going to call if it's that time? And trucking does have its ups and downs. Let's face it. When you can save money, you can save it. And there will be times when running your own business, like right now, freight's a little tight. I'm assuming guys are seeing a little less loads.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when things go awry. It never goes at the pinnacle when everything's happy. It always goes at the bottom when everything's going wrong.
Absolutely.
And so take care of yourself.
You want to hear an amazing detail of this? Watch this. You guys are going to love this. Tony's got an answer for this. I already know the answer, but it's just fun to ask. Oh my God, Tony, I wrecked my truck. The damn thing burned to the ground. My wallet was in the truck. How the hell am I getting to a hotel? And what happens? I mean, I managed to drag my phone out with me because I'm that guy. I'm not leaving my phone behind. Everything else can burn up in the truck for all I care. But damn it, I will take my phone. This damn thing cost me $2,000 because I'm an idiot, but whatever. And I'm taking it with me. That's the one thing I'm grabbing. Okay, two things. I'm grabbing Rosie first. And I'm telling her, grab both phones, babe, as I yank her out the door. Okay.
I find that hard to believe because I think she'd be pushing you back.
That could be that right now. Yeah, that's true. but okay. So
what would happen is you simply pick up the phone. You can do it at the scene of the accident. You can do it from any point in the process. And you explain to us, there's an 800 number, 24 hours a day manned. We'll book that room for you. We'll pay for that room. We'll get you an Uber from wherever you're at, get you back to the room. And the only thing you got to do is take a picture of yourself, send it in to us. We send it to the hotel because we do have to prove you are who you are. Right. And one of the things that we can do is we can manage your driver's file, and that picture will be on our application because we require a copy of your driver's license. to
Right.
be in the file. And the reason we do that is to make sure you are who you are. And you just walk in, sign the little thing, and go away.
Well, damn it, Tony. You know what I did? I forgot my phone and it burnt up in the damn fire.
Then have the police officer take your picture and have him send us a copy. You get to the hotel, have them take a picture of you and send it to us, and we'll verify you are you.
Hopefully, it's not a picture like this. My bad. That's a story. I apologize. What? I've only had that happen once in my life. It was stupid.
Uh-huh.
Drunk and disorderly, but I was sober. Figure that out. I don't even understand, but whatever. Not prosecuted. Not
That
aware.
actually makes sense for people that know you and have been around you.
It's a true story. I wouldn't be mistaken for being drunk out of my gourd pretty much all day long. I think that's why I've had so many alcohol tests while I've been at Swift. Like there was a time there where every other month I was blowing into a breathalyzer for Swift on a random basis, right? Oh, sweet Lord. I'm like, what is it you guys think I'm doing? I'm just being me. And they're like, maybe you should be less you. I'm like, can't happen.
That's not happening.
You know? So, all right, I apologize. I derailed it again. Damn it. I should not.
Okay. So we got someone that's going to watch this on the replay,
Right.
apparently, but can we go over real quick? I'm going to have to watch the replay to rehear the information about this digital information packet, why it's illegal to have one. And, you know, we mentioned that you need to have one. I don't think we went into details as to why you need to have one, though. I know you mentioned in passing your experience with the DOT telling you that it had to be secured a certain way and all that stuff.
That's correct. And the reason you have to have it is it proves that you're self-employed. It means, so if I'm an owner or operator, and in this case, what we had is a driver who actually lost his life backing into his own driveway that he had backed into for 20 some plus years.
Holy hell.
Oh.
And he was backing in rural Minnesota, and unfortunately an elderly man and his wife were going to church. It was on Sunday morning, and he actually hit the back of the truck, slid between him and the mailbox. So the older gentleman and our driver got out, and a young man in a pickup texting come over the hill and plowed in them both and killed them.
Oh, Jesus.
Tried to look for was he really an owner operator? And you know, he's in business for himself. If he's in business for himself, he's required to have these files. And fortunately, we had given them copies. Where we got a little janky, I think at the end, was it wasn't in a secure location. And from that, we got a DOT fine. And so it prompted us to create a software system for owner operators to log into their own phone so they could track these files, track their own insurance, and put him in business for himself as an owner operator, right? And he uploads, he takes care of that file. Today, they can go in if they need a certificate, they need to prove coverage. They can actually go into the phone, open it up, and pull out any certificate by product name. And it's at their control. They control everything about it.
Right.
Today, and the reason we did that is because most owner operators allow the motor carrier to negotiate everything.
Right.
There's lots of reasons. You start with auto liability. You should understand that auto liability is permissible to be purchased through the motor carrier and passed off and covering the owner operator. That and cargo. Those two policies are perfectly legitimate, not contested, not used in AB5 against you, but all the other policies can and probably always do get used against you.
Right.
And so it's pretty hard for somebody to walk in and tell you everything you're doing for your business, and then you claim to be in business.
Right.
And we want to create that balance between the motor carrier and the owner operator. And so by harping on what you control, what you have, even if you stay with the motor carrier, and that's great if that's what you choose to do.
Right.
But you ought to make sure that you're covered, right? And a call to the agency and having somebody talk to you about those coverages sometimes it's about knowing that what you have is the best you can get. There's nothing wrong with that. And if
Mhm.
somebody beats my price, so be it.
Right.
You should feel good, and we want you to feel good. If it's full of exposures and potholes, we're going to tell you driving that road could be rough and bumpy,
Right.
right?
Right.
And you know,
Well,
what,
I know an individual not too very long ago said, "Well, what the hell do I need gap coverage for? I mean, how often is that coverage needed? You know, I
Mhm.
haven't had an accident in 97 years, and 2 weeks, 3 weeks later in a wreck with a
Total
gap.
destruct. Yep.
I mean, Murphy's a son of a bitch. That guy comes up and kicks me in the nuts every chance he gets. I swear to God, he does. So, and the reason I bring that up, and it's not to harp on OIDA. It's not. It's any insurance company out there that you can't get gap coverage for. And
Right.
OIDA just comes to mind because when I called them and when we were building this thing with Tony to start with, I called OIDA and said, "Look, build me a quote." And by the way, I want gap coverage. And they're like, "Nope, we don't do gap." I don't understand how our carrier takes their coverage without the gap, because that was a huge weird thing for us. But whatever. And somehow I don't know, man. I look. A lot of people are like, "Oh, screw the gap, screw the gap." Look, no, I can tell you the gap on mine's ridiculous. Right now, with the way the market went, the gap on mine's stupid, and without it, I'm done for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Donna and I have personal experience. We bought a brand new Kia years ago. I don't need gap. Of course, you know what happens to a Kia when you drive it off the lot? It loses half its value.
Right.
Um, about less than a year into payments on that thing, got rear-ended, totaled the car.
Right.
And without gap insurance, the finance company was nice enough to
Right.
roll that into our
Oh
new
yeah.
loan, of course.
Yeah.
But
so you're really paying for it.
Right.
So gap is something that we believe in wholeheartedly.
And look, I learned about gap a long time ago in my personal vehicle again. And guess what? It was a Kia. It was my first Kia Soul. And my daughter was driving along one day and got T-boned by a big F-250 one day, all jacked up on some 36 swamps or something like that, and totaled the car. The damn thing wasn't that old. But I'll tell you what, my gap coverage and the insurance company that I had at the time, in fact, that I still have now, I've had them almost 29 or 30 years now. I was in a brand new Kia Soul in under 5 days. I was not even in the state when this happened, and I had a brand new car sitting in my driveway, like no joke, before I got home. It was the craziest thing, and it was because of the gap. Without the gap, I was screwed. Completely upside down on that thing. They would have put me in jet boat. They're like, "Hey, let's just add this onto your new car note. It'll be fine. Don't worry, buddy."
Yeah, as a result, I had a note for like 18 grand on a $14,000 car.
Right?
Yeah,
exactly. So and in our shopping, in our travels, endeavors, what have you, in looking for insurance, I mean, Jeff and I caught a lot of static for settling on Sebrite, and I say settling because that was their word. And I'm like, no, we didn't settle for Jack. We put in months and months of research, and Tony and his people busted their asses to build and create this thing that we have available to us now, which has evolved from the start. Every day seemed to evolve into something bigger, better,
Yeah.
and the service.
And
Holy hell.
And Tony, you know this because we told you exactly what we were doing when we first met you. I was calling my auto insurance company to find out if they did truck insurance. So we called OIDA, we called this place, we called a lot of people, man. We
Right.
got a lot of interesting information and learned a lot about insurance. And a lot of what you're offering right now, and we were talking about this before the show, we got to give credit to our Swift brothers and sisters out there. Because Contractors Corner started as a Swift thing, and now we're expanding to offer services to all carriers
masses.
and all owner operators. This wouldn't have happened without starting out at Swift with our Swift brothers and sisters. This thing has grown from that. So those of you that got in early and and gave us your feedback and worked with us, man, this is what it's turned into. Now we're able to go outside of Swift and help people in other carriers as well. And that's what we've wanted to do from the beginning.
Just remember, if you're
So,
calling for insurance and you call Sebrite and the number is scrolling across the bottom of the screen there, give them a call. And when you call, make sure you bring up the fact that, hey, man, I heard about this on Contractor's Corner, because it's a different thing. It's a completely different thing. You need to mention that. It's 800-366-6466. And okay, so here's one of the crazy things about this, by the way. Just to go back to the service aspect that we've seen and received from Sebrite. The individual we were talking about who wrecked his truck in Atlanta. I mean, I believe it was a Saturday or a Sunday night when this all went down. I think it was a Saturday.
Friday night.
Right, Friday night. He was trapped in Atlanta on there was 2 or 3 major events going on in Atlanta. The guy ended up at one of the more expensive hotels because of all this crap going on. Anyhow, I think that state trooper took him to like the most expensive hotel nearby because it was a close thing. He's like, here, go there. It'll be fine. Whatever. But Tony, that guy right up there, is the guy that was on the phone with our driver. Hey, man,
Yep.
all right, let's get this worked out. We've got you. We're going to get you taken care of. Don't worry, man. Just breathe, take a breath, relax. We've got you. Slow down. Let's make some things happen that are a little bit better. And that's the service we're talking about. You're going to talk to this man at some point in time.
Yep.
Let's just be real. Because everybody says, oh, I've never been in an accident. You know what? Your time is coming. We all will be in one at some point. It's just the nature of the beast. You know, when you've driven over 1 million miles, 2 million, 3 million miles, the odds are kind of shitty against you at that point. I'm not saying you're going to die or burn a fiery death, but, you know, a little fender bender is a thing. And you're going to need to talk to somebody. And I can tell you that Tony and the folks at Sebrite are just the most tremendous people that I've ever dealt with from the insurance side of things. Like, honest to God, I can't speak highly enough of them and their crew. You know, so I just had to sign a new ICOA because it's that time of year for me. You know, it's my anniversary, November. And I had not swapped over my OCAC out of Swift yet, right? And Swift didn't give me a choice because I signed a new ICOA.
It was an all or nothing.
Yeah, it's either you have all of our insurance or you have none of our insurance. I'm like, fine, bye, sucker, I'm out. Peace. And I feel like an idiot because I just never got around to doing it, right? But here's the thing. The savings that I got for switching is just stupid. And I'm just an idiot for not doing it. But you know what? Look, taking a little more back, rolling back some more control into what I have because we got a better offering through Sebrite. And it's a better product. I mean, it just is. And the service that comes with that and the support with Sebrite behind you when these things happen. And it's like, you know, with ES and Colton, I mean, these people all stand by the product that they are, you know, providing us. They stand behind, and wait, here's the crazy part. They understand this industry. They understand us as drivers. Many of these people have been drivers, owned companies, things of that nature. They understand our crazy mixed up industry, right? Because they've lived that life. That to me is tremendous.
Yeah.
Right. So the products are really built by truckers. So you need to understand if you go out and go to, you know, whoever the insurance company for your OCAC and ask, well, cover my business. Just see what they tell you. Ask them to cover the shortfalls and gaps on your physical damage. Most of them will tell you no.
Right.
Extendable towing coverage. Pay for my hotel room after an accident. It's not covered. These are separate policies. When you ask for it, we issue the policy to you. So we are dedicated towards the owner operator, but we probably are the most friendly thing to a motor carrier. And we don't sell a size 13E shoe. Today, every one of you experience, this is my little box, this is my little shoe. And if 13E is too big, too small, or if it's just right, that's all we got.
Right.
Not what we have. We have built more products in the last 2 years specifically designed to, and you will see some of these in the near future as we get going on this for owner operators. The whole idea is to protect the status of the owner operator, to drive as much profit to that driver as we can so that he can better live in his business and provide better for his family. And that's really what we're doing. And we're not settling. We go to insurance companies. In fact, we were going to actually have an insurance rep for the product that we market. I drive him nuts. I've got more innovative ideas to take care of that, protecting both the motor carrier, but really protecting the driver. And if that driver's happy, the motor carrier is going to live a much better life.
Right.
And that's our goal. Our goal is to make these drivers as much profit as we can. And there are more things than just insurance that we will talk about in the near future. Ways to increase your profitability, getting paid for doing the same thing you're doing.
Right.
And all these things will come out. It takes time to sit down and plan how to organize to get it out, to sit in front of drivers and motor carriers. If you're a driver out there and the motor carrier tells you have to have yours, you somebody to talk to, and I'll talk to the motor carrier. And we'll see if we can get them to listen to us. And then if you see our logo on your new card, you know why.
Right.
And then call Charlie and tell him.
Hell, don't tell me. You know what I want you to do? I want you to go out and tell 5 people.
Yeah.
I drive people nuts on the fuel island when I'm out there fueling on the ES card. I'm like, hey, bro, what are you paying? And I'm random people at the fuel island. What are you paying for fuel? I see you're a contractor for this carrier or whatever. What are you paying for fuel? They're like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, what the hell you mean you don't know? I'm like, here's what I'm paying. And I show them the app. I'm like, man, the pump says $5.22 and I'm paying $4.10.
Yep.
They're like, what? How is that happening? You drive for Swift or you drive for whomever. I'm like, because I got this card and you can have it too. Just go to the link and I'll break out the code right there. Scan this, man.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people that lease onto the mega carriers. I've talked to a lot of them, and it does not occur to them that they don't have to use a carrier's fleet card, that they don't have to use the company's insurance. It's not even in their mind to look at that stuff. And, up until a few years ago when Charlie and I first went on the air with Contractors Corner, we didn't really think about some of that stuff either. It's stuff that we've learned.
Right.
And we're more profitable as a result.
Our members have brought us. I mean, look, so here's a funny story. Like the fuel card, the ES Advantage, that was brought to us by one of the guys that was one of our buddies in Contractors Corner.
Yeah.
We were busting his balls for so long about so many different things. He's like, hey, man, you guys check out this fuel card. We're like, what? And he started showing us the numbers, and we're like, holy crap, we're idiots. Why did we not have this before? Well, that was Matthew Wright. That dude, shout out, bro. Matt Wright, I hear you, brother, because you turned it. Look, I'm going to make his head explode right now. Ready? Matt Wright bringing us that fuel card started this ridiculous evolution that has become what it is now of Contractors Corner Consulting Group, LLC, a Utah-based company.
Yep. And so another real quick thing about the ES Advantage fuel card, guys, unlike others that may be competing with them,
right?
You do not have to use it 65% of the time you fuel.
Right.
They don't care how often you use it. If you get a better price on mud flap in that rural area that you have no choice but to go to, they don't care. They're not checking up on you. They're not going to cancel your card because you didn't use them for however percentage of your fueling.
Right.
There is another card out there that does that.
5 letters.
Yep.
Sorry.
So I'm just saying. And
they have association fees.
Yep.
Just throwing that out there. My bad. So yeah, I mean, we're trying to turn these things into I've said it before, a bigger, better, much more encompassing type of thing. And hopefully you guys are seeing the benefit from it. I believe many of you are. I know there are some people out there that are absolutely dead set. I swear to God, Tony, if we say do this, they do the opposite. Just because it's Jeff or I. And look, Jeff and I get people that call us and they're like, hey, and they'll call one first. They'll call Jeff. Hey, Jeff, I'm going to go do X, Y, Z. And Jeff's like, you should do A, B, and C instead. And then they'll call me. Hey, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. And I'm like, no, you should do A, B, and C instead. And then they call us a month later and be like, bro, I did X, Y, Z. And oh my God, it failed. And we're like, really?
Yeah.
Did you think
It's
we were
weird.
just blowing smoke up your skirt because we wanted to see your panties? No, we don't want to see your damn panties. Nobody wants to see your panties. Stop it. But this went weird again.
You're going
You
weird.
guys know what I'm saying. I got my pretty red panties on. What?
Well, yeah. I mean, and that gets back to the folk. Those of you folks that we earnestly do want to work with is the people that are serious about their business.
Right.
Some of the people that I follow in they call it the expert industry or whatever. They're always looking for clients too, and there's a term out there that they use. They're not really interested in the tire kickers. We've got a blog for that. But if you're serious about taking your business to the next level, we're there for you. But be prepared though. If you actually call us, be prepared for some real discussions.
Yeah. And don't be mad because we're asking questions. Look,
right.
Real quick, Jim Wall, did I miss fuel surcharge? Jim, it's scrolling across the bottom of the screen right now, just for you, buddy, because I know it's important to you. That is the fuel surcharge for our Swift contracted contractors. If any of you are not contracted at Swift and you're out there negotiating rates on the load boards and things like that, I sure hope you're looking at the EIA website on a regular basis to know what those fuel prices are doing out in the areas you're going to be heading to, or maybe maybe it helps you make a better decision saying, hey, no, I'm not going to California this week because, oh my God, just saying. So yeah.
Right.
By the way, anybody wants to call in and ask some questions directly, we've got about 30-ish minutes left. The phone number is 813-548-3722. The phone line is open. I will pay attention to see if anyone calls in. And because I know sometimes it's hard to write a question in the text because it's hard to get the context behind it. And maybe we got some follow-ups and it takes forever to get through the texting and the answering back and forth. So if you've got some questions about insurance or anything trucking business involved, please give us a call right now, 813-548-3722. Give us a call. I'm watching the phones. Anyone wants to call and talk about this stuff, do that now. And back to you, Tony and Jeff.
Yeah, so Bear Hunter, you did tell me to not buy more shit. And we did. That was an uncomfortable conversation for Bear Hunter.
I think it was uncomfortable.
And you know what? We gave him our take on stuff, and he did what he wanted to do. And you know what? We make fun of him a little bit sometimes, but that's the nature of things. With anything like this, when you're talking to a coach or a consultant or just somebody that you think has some nice advice for you, it's up to you to make the choice to act on it or not. We have the show where we impart sage advice, I think. Charlie?
That sounds good. I like sage.
Yeah, that sounds like all fancy and stuff.
Right.
It's up to you guys to act on it, though.
Tony is our insurance sage.
That's right.
Tony's what?
Tony's our insurance sage.
Oh,
actually, Tony has become far more than that. Tony has actually become a business sage for us because whether he likes it or not, he is like
He's our guru.
So
yeah. The more we learn, the more we give to you guys. And it's an ongoing process, man. But by the time you get up there to the age of some of you guys, like we have members, Tony, that have been driving truck for like 30 years. Like actively, they've just been on the road for 30 years.
Just out there.
And we would be crazy not to ask them questions. Charlie and I have both been in this. I've been in this 17 years. Charlie's been in it 16 this go around. He had some experience before that. But when you get these guys that have actively been driving for that long, why would you not ask them what they
Right.
think? I mean, that would be crazy.
Trust
You
but
know?
verify.
You know, I mean, what you know, yeah, trust but verify. You know, we met a guy that's a big YouTuber, not you really YouTuber. He does TikToks and things like that. And he interviewed this old guy. The dude had to be
Great.
80 if he was a day.
At
And
least.
he was at the fuel line, and it was a great little video. It was only like 90 seconds. We asked the dude, so what do you think about guys wanting to be owner operators? You've been out here a while. And dude, this dude had some things to say.
Talking about he's been trucking since 1970 something, before I was even born. I was born in
And
71.
and how we're all idiots for trying to play that game, and it's better to just be a company guy and make some money and retire someday. And I'm sitting there thinking, but you're like 85.
At least
Still driving,
still trucking.
you know. But you know, you get
Power
guys
to
that
the
old.
brother.
He may not appreciate the owner operator business model that much, but I bet you that he's got some things to say that you could learn from. A guy like
Right.
that. It's been around. He was around before deregulation. He was driving.
Long before.
So yeah. That's something. That's a whole discussion, Tony. Talk to people about deregulation, how they want those regulations to come back.
Why?
I don't know, man.
Ah,
I mean, I actually came up with a little meme a couple months ago. You know, if it wasn't for deregulation, most of us wouldn't be in business. People don't realize that are calling for regulations
right.
to go back to the way they were post 1980. I or pre 1980. You know. And by the way, Charlie, I told Charlie this. I was trying to do some research on the deregulation for a class that I'm working on. Have you ever tried to research deregulation? You
Yeah.
would think that for something that affected the U.S. economy as much as deregulation of the trucking industry, there would be some books written about it. It's like a big state secret how that happened.
Right.
It's weird. The
So-
best I could get was from Wikipedia, basically.
So for those of you that are out there, just so you know, we've been talking about insurance and the offerings coming out of Sebrite. Give them a call, 800-366-6466. Let them talk to you about what it is that they have to offer. We've touched on some of that. If you're joining us late, make sure you go back and watch the replay. Give them a call. There are some amazing products that they are putting out here, and we are 100% behind. Jeff and I are just all in. We love this stuff. And I mean, look, we don't do this because of Tony's giving me $1 million. I mean, if he gave me $1 million, I'd take it. Just say, hey, Tony, if you want to hand out $1 million, buddy, I'm here just in case you need to just drop it somewhere. I'm just going to throw it out there. But, you know, we come to these agreements and these relationships, and we believe in the products that we talk about.
Yep.
You know, if we don't know something about a product, we're probably not going to talk about it except for very kind of around the edges. And hey, I heard about that too. I'm gonna have to look into it. You know, these are folks,
or we'll ask you guys what you think of it.
right? You know, but these are folks that we feel we've vetted. We've had long, in-depth, especially with Tony. Oh my God, the conversations. I mean, hours of discussions about this, about that. You know, and how does this work, and why would we do this versus that? You know, and the products that you know, the people that we recommend that they are selling and providing is something that we believe in. We don't do it for a referral. Like I said, you know, Colton gives us a little deal when someone signs up and says, hey, Contractors Corner sent me your way. Like I said, we didn't even know about that damn thing to start with. With ES Advantage, through the end of the year, I think come January, we're going to discuss with ES Advantage. We've been giving away the referral bonus back to you guys. Look, we've given quite many dollars. It kind of hurts your feeling when you find out how many dollars it is. That offer may not be valid anymore come January, because we need to have a discussion. It's a business decision. You know, because they do offer a referral bonus for the fuel card that we put out. But you know what? Here's the thing. Even if we keep our referral bonus 9 times out of 10, most months, they are still handing out another referral bonus that you guys are going to be able to keep. So there you go. That's that. I don't like talking about that stuff. It makes me uncomfortable.
We do have some questions.
Get to them, Jeff. My bad.
All right. Life on 18 wheels. Does the insurance differ if we trip, lease, or port the truck? And if so, how? So we've discussed what Swiss version of trip leasing is, Tony. And it's not what you thought trip leasing was, apparently, but it is what it is. So if someone does that, does their insurance rate change at all? If they take their truck to another carrier, does that insurance rate change at all?
No, it's portable.
Okay.
You are the client. The driver and his unit are the client. Motor carrier is indifferent to me.
There you go.
We want to make sure that the truck is covered, the driver's covered, and the motor carrier is relieved of exposure. Right? It's a win for every party. And there can be a ton of motor carriers. We don't care.
There you go. So that again, this is so that makes this insurance another piece of your business toolbox. You know, when you are not relying on the carrier for your insurance, you have freedom that you wouldn't otherwise have.
Right.
How much is the average premium to be insured with Sebrite? I don't even know.
That's a poor question. So, Tim, let me ask you this. I think the real question is that you're asking what's the average truck driving around the U.S. Well, an average is 1 foot in fire and the other on ice, and I'm just about right.
Yes, sir.
So what you have to look at is the rate per thousand, right? So the lower the value of the truck, in some cases, the rate is higher. If you have a $12,000 truck or a $20,000 truck, you might have a higher rate, but your chances of totaling are almost every time you have an incident, because the value of salvage and the estimate is what creates a salvage bid, right?
Right.
The higher the truck gets, the lower the premium gets, because you're getting a whole bunch more premium, but it costs more to fix it. So average is a poor question. There are some insurance policies, for example, non-trucking can be anywhere from $24 to $28. BOE is anywhere from $28 to $32. So dollars per month. I think what you have to look at is to call in and ask what the rate is, because the rate is what you're really concerned with. And rate is if you have a 4% rate times the value of your truck, and somebody else has an 8% rate, that's your premium. And
I could tell you, I could tell you, Tim, because I know you're leased at Swift. If you're on Mojave, which is Swift's insurance provider, you're at a rate of 6% per thousand per value of the truck,
and that could be going up again.
And according to their last earnings call, by the way, Tony, that might be going up. Just saying.
And see, our program for Swift, and this is just Swift, and we had this conversation. I kind of gave you a report card, right? Because we've been at it about a year.
Right.
You started off in the hole. It was poor, the loss ratio. But over the course of the year, it has righted the ship. And we're only running, at best, a 40% loss ratio. Right. So we're looking in the next month of issuing a rate reduction. And I'm already much lower than Swift as a corporate whole.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Two things happen. One is we manage the claim from the minute the accident occurs till the minute that truck gets out of the shop. We chase parts. We get them to the repair shop of your choice. I don't care who you use. We're not recommending repair shops. This is up to you. But we chase parts. And we don't want to see. And we've had some problems. I don't want to go generic.
Right.
Yeah, I want to start saying product lines. But we've had trouble getting some things like computers. But our carriers own salvage yards, and we've been able to get parts to get these trucks up and running anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks ahead of our competition. And we pay for downtime. Right? At the end of the day, our loss ratio, managing the claims, having our clientele who they are, we don't take everybody, right? So in this program, we have 3 tiers of markets. We have carriers that take the bad, we have carriers that take the great, and we have carriers that step in the middle. So we can work you from the bottom to the top, and you can accident your way from the top to the bottom.
Right.
Right. So
Don't be that guy.
and we won't lose you. The difference is we can help you. You have to start by helping yourself. Drivers who are stressed financially have more problems and accidents than those who aren't.
Right.
Right. And that's why I keep stressing to get a snapshot to find out if you're making money. And is there something you can do to change the pattern so that the profit of the truck increases? Well, the first thing you can do is drive profit to the truck, minimize your expenses.
Right.
That's the first thing you got to do.
So step out with Trucker CFO, get that healthy snapshot of your finances in your business.
Right. And so Tim, he stepped out to a company called First Coast. So he's the guy you were talking about, Charlie, to First Guard when the cameras became mandatory. And I know First Guard is one of those companies that we looked into, and we still went with Sebrite, just saying. So I'm going to put it this way. So the average person that we've seen go from Mojave to Sebrite is saving several $100s a month.
Easily.
And getting more coverage. Mainly
service.
Mainly the business. Man, I should know this.
BOE, business
BOE.
operating expenses.
Right.
The business overhead expense. We have
And
increased limits of towing. We have
Right.
a higher per capita and we have gap to get you on your lease, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Our non-trucking is less with the $1 million limits, and we cover your business, right?
Right.
Those are the 3 big things that we do.
And the business coverage, Tony, that's the one I like to stress because I was not offered that by anybody else.
Right.
So not only did I save money versus the other company, we'll just keep saying it, Mojave, but you offered us coverage that didn't exist anywhere else to cover my business in the case of an incident.
I didn't even know OCAC would.
And it still came in under Mojave's price.
Right.
So, to answer your question, Tim, give them a call and run it through them and see what they could do for you. It may be, and this is something I want to stress, if you get all the coverage that Charlie and I have, it might be higher per month than you're paying that other company. But look at the coverage. Look at what you're being covered for. And, at my age, with my financial outlook, without the business expense being covered, that's a lot of risk for me.
Right.
I could, I could lose my house without that, basically. Right. So I'm always looking at what's going to bridge the gap between incident and getting back on my feet.
Right.
What's going to bridge that gap without Jeff losing his house? That's what I look at. So this one's kind of interesting, Tony. Mike Henderson, and he's a guy that we really like because he just says it. He just says what he thinks.
He's been around a good long time, so it's fun.
So this actually caused him to go bankrupt, by the way. So years ago, I had a mule deer hit my brand new truck. Swift Insurance fixed the damage, but the truck never ran properly again. Whenever he took it to a shop, shops kept asking me if the truck was in a wreck. How would that have been handled by you guys?
So, Mike, rule number 1, when you go to pick your truck up, you sign something that it's complete and it all works. The body shop will make you sign that, the repair shop. Once you sign that, you've just said everything is okay. Right? How quick did it act up? Who did you call? I mean, there's a lot of questions. I'll give you a great example. The same guy that we talked about that was in Atlanta, right?
Mm-hmm. He's our test case.
Yeah, in his truck's case, he can explain it better than most. That truck got totaled before it got repaired because of the damages he had taken on his cell phone. So we were able to determine back initially when the original adjuster did an online inspection, because it was easier and quicker to get it moving.
Mhm.
And we later got pictures and we said no.
Right.
Right. So when the truck doesn't run right, I don't know if that means engine. Does it mean transmission? Does it mean suspension? Does it mean rear ends? Does it mean the sub? I don't know what you mean by it didn't run right.
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 Mhm.
I mean, there's certain things you could turn a truck over and blow an engine. Right. You could damage the engine. We set it
Mhm.
back on its wheels and do all the paint, and then the engine's bad. You shouldn't
Right.
have fixed it in the first place without repairing the engine.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
If you lay it on its side and it keeps running or it runs out, it's a problematic. You should know that when that truck goes in, it should be brought up to the adjuster. So without knowing a whole lot of details, I'm not sure. But I do know this, in a very serious impact, putting a piece of crap back on the road is not in your best interest, and it's not in our best interest.
Right.
Because if that truly would have happened, chances are probably greater than 50-50, that truck would have had another incident to make it go
Right.
away. Right? That's
Yep.
when we have friction fires. Incidents
Right.
get too close to the mortgage and it's piled up a second time.
Right.
Right. So a little bit more info from Tim. Thanks, Jeff and Tony. I'll be reaching out. My truck's a 2020 Cascadia and is paid for, so no payments. And so I have some experience with this. Give them a call.
Yeah. I mean, look, what does it hurt?
My truck's older. Mine's a 16. So my truck was only valued by Sebrite at about 40,000. So that's what I'm paying insurance on it for. Yours is going to be a little higher being new, but I was extremely happy with my quote for all of the insurance that I got, and I got everything that they offer. So
Is this driver a Swift driver?
He is contracted to Swift. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Owns
So
his truck outright.
I can tell you a couple things and I didn't see the name pop up, but there's a couple things that you'll need. You'll need your ICOA pages 7, 9, and 11. And that'll tell us the payoff in the event you blow this thing up or you torch it to the ground.
it's
Paid for
yeah,
truck.
but he's not going to have that because it's paid for. He owns it.
Oh, sorry, you're right. He won't. So all I need is a statement of value, and we'll pull an industry average, and you tell us what you want to insure it for. It has to be of market value, and then you're covered.
And you can just fall back. Look, I'm not saying that maybe Sebrite's not the best price. I've seen some lower prices out there. I don't know what kind of experience you've had with your insurance company, Tim. I don't know what the claims process have been. I mean, I think you and I talked about some of this stuff in a post on the Facebook group type of thing. But I can tell you, from our experience in dealing with folks that we have, the service level that we get through Sebrite, hands down, is better than anyone I've ever dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone,
And that includes my auto and homeowners insurance company.
right? Okay, you said auto and home. I actually saw a question about that, and I figured I should throw it up there. Jim Wall actually asked Tony, does Sebrite only cover trucks, or do they have homeowners and auto?
No, we are a specialized company. We only do transportation. We have programs for other things, but I doubt if any of you are dentists or owning hotels.
Right.
So we only do programs, and owner operators, and trucking is what we do.
Right. Oh, I feel like I missed something.
Craig, Sebrite offers more for less. That's the bottom line for me.
Right. Way more for less.
I think you can find cheaper rates. The differences between us, and I think in most of the programs that are lower than us, is the length of time of the repair and the ease of the process, right? We can get stuff for cheap, and then if we take it to London and all of a sudden it takes 3 months to get a check and you're down for that 3 months, it's not good. So getting your truck, getting checks in the hands of people, getting you back on the road as quickly as possible, having a great surplus parts, All these things matter to us, and they
Right.
should matter to you.
Mhm.
If the only thing you care about is on the cheap, there are carriers out there who will write you for less and you will get what you paid for. You can stay in a Motel 6. You can stay in a Hilton. I always want to be treated like I'm staying in a Hilton.
Mhm.
So Tim asked, and I a little confused personally. Can you get gap coverage for a paid for truck? Like if it was totaled, I know it would be hard to get something similar. Would love to get a like new replacement and still have no payments.
Well, that's why you put the value at market value.
You put the value at market. We insure it up to the current market value. Keep in mind, when you say that, each month your truck will depreciate in value
Right.
just because that's the way the market trends.
Right.
Gap is to cover the difference between what your stated truck value is and what the bank's holding on you. Gap only covers that, by the way.
Okay.
Mhm.
Right. So once you
Only if it's
insure it,
financed or leased or
So
something.
like on my 16, I don't have gap insurance.
you
I
would
have
not.
it insured for $40,000 because when we looked at truckpaper.com, that's what the replacement value of a 2016 Cascadia was when I signed up for the insurance.
Yes. And at the time of the accident, let's say the accident is 12 months from then, right? So the question is that 40,000, if you went to truck papers at the end of 12 months, may only be 36,000. Could be
Mhm.
30,000, right?
Yep.
If you had a loan against it, Gap would pick the difference up
Right.
from the 30 to the 40, which is what you owe. Since you don't have it, what it has is it will take that 30,000, it will take the highest average earning, and it becomes that. So it's probably going to be at that 36, which is the math that we would use. You probably lose 5 to 10% in the course
And
of
now
adjustment.
remember that insurance is there to make you whole, not for you to profit.
Right.
Correct.
I think that culturally in the United States, people are used to this. I get in an accident and then I go hire a lawyer and I get $1 million.
Right.
And that's all insurance, so nobody cares. That's not actually true. People
Right.
care.
Yeah, insurance is
And-
your checkbook.
Right.
So don't be going calling the hammer. Just take what you paid for, and then if you're in a 2020 now and you get full market value for it, go to Aero Truck Centers and stroke that check for another 2020.
All right, guys, we are at our 2-hour mark. So what I'm going to do is say, Tony, do you have any last things you'd like to throw at anybody?
We'll look forward to talking to anybody, and we look forward to the new drivers coming into Contractors Corner. And don't hesitate to call and ask questions. You won't talk to me for a sale because that's not what I do. I build products. You got ideas, you want to talk, my phone is open, as Charlie can tell you, and Jeff.
Absolutely.
I turn it on at 4 in the morning and I shut it off at 11:45 every night. Guaranteed.
Crazy.
Other than that, 7 days a week, my phone will get answered.
The man, if he doesn't answer, he will call back. And he doesn't have voicemail, so don't try to leave.
Don't leave voicemail. Just send me a text.
Right.
And I will call you back.
So with that, if you want to reach out to Tony, the number is 800-366-646. Not for Tony, but for Sebrite Agency. Give them a call. Let them write up a quote for you. Talk to them about what it is that they're offering, what they have in their arsenal to help us protect ourselves and our carriers, or our carrier if you are the carrier. And also reach out, and it's scrolling across the bottom right now. Also, reach out to Trucker CFO at info@truckercfo.com with questions, or www.truckercfo.com, 800-533-4230. Or you know what? You could go simply to contractorscorner.cc. That's the website address, http://contractorscorner.cc. You'll find links to all the people that we actually like doing business with right there on that page. You can go there, check it out. You'll see some links to some of our past videos. Jeff, full disclosure, I haven't put up the last, 4 weeks of videos. My bad. I don't know. I've been a little busy and brain scattered. But anyhow, we've got a podcast coming out soon. Not sure where it's going to be at, but hopefully we're going to get that out. Our first one is actually a feature with Colton from Trucker CFO that from a show, and we're trying out this whole audio podcast thing, and that's going to be an interesting thing. I just finished editing most of it today. That's been a whole learning experience, so bear with us. Can't tell you when it's coming out because I don't know, because I'm not technology smart with that stuff yet, but we're working on it. By all means, please check out all of these people. They are here helping us, trying to make us do better. With that being said, Jeff, last words.
I got nothing, man. We'll talk about business next week.
Next week is going to be exciting because Jeff's got a bombshell to drop, and it's going to make your head go poof. So with that, you guys, we'll see you like we do every week, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Contractors Corner right here. That's us. We're going to be here for you. We'll see you.
Take
I
care.
gotta